Buongiorno from Calabria, Italy, and today I'm going to talk about the fact that the supposed underdevelopment of Calabria, the north-south divide, is actually strategy, and that it does make sense, and that there are interests to keep it that way, and why. Anyways, this landscape, look at this. We have palm trees, we have the seaside in the background, and we're close to Pizzo in Calabria. Close to Pizzo in Calabria. Isn't this beautiful? It's a June day and we have the sun out. It is wonderful. So let's start about the actual topic. Now, what is unique about Calabria is that you have the open flank geographically. Calabria is at the very south of Italy, the most southern part, the bottom part of the boot, basically, if you look at the map. And it is just before Sicily, the islands. And here you have the open flank. You have the Mediterranean side and the Adriatic side. And you have access to both within minutes by car or within hours by horse in the old days. And this made Calabria in the south, what is today Italy, very vulnerable, because you had people flocking in from the south. You had the Berbers and you had the Arabs from the south. You had the Greek from the east, and you had the Iberians from the Iberian Peninsula, what is today Spain, from the west, and you had the Normans and the Germanic people from the north. So this is a total open flank in terms of geography. And whoever controlled Calabria, Sicily, Crete, the Holy Land, and Gibraltar controlled the Mediterranean, and this is the known world from a European, from a Mediterranean, from a North African, even from an Egyptian perspective. So this known world had to be protected, and that is why you have this specific trait of the people here in Calabria, and I guess also in Sicily, and also the city of Napoli, which is the Neopolis, the new city, which was created, or which was fortified by the Greek a long time ago. So you have a very unique input in terms of genetics. As I like to do, let's do the full polemics. It is a mixture of the Celts and Germans and the Arabs. That's what comes together. Of course, you have the tribes in the peninsula here, the boot. But at the end of the day, let's polemically call it out. It is Germans and Arabs coming together here in Calabria in terms of genetics. And of course, you have the stereotypes of the German, the boring details that make good engineering, and you have the losing of temper, which makes good fighters and controls things on the Arab side, and much more. Of course, you have a very deep culture which has been forgotten on the Northern European side. South of Italy has both. You have the blue eyes and you have the full black hair, and due to the tanning of the sun, also possibly a little bit darker skin than in the north of Italy. So it is really what it comes down to. It is the open flank, and that is what makes up the characteristics of these people in Calabria, because they always had to fight and they had to move towards a scenario where you would fight off these different invaders coming from everywhere. And if you look at the coastal region, it is open. It is open. Anybody can come with a ship, if it is from the Norman lands or if it's from the Arab lands or from the the African lands or the Egyptian or the Greek lands. Anybody can land. So that is why you had to have a very distinct and direct way of doing things. And that is why I experience, I'll call it, it is a no bullshit attitude. It is what it is. You get what you get. When you order food, you get what you get. People are proud of it. They tell you no bullshit. They're honest to the core, and it is in your face. And that works to their favor because that way you get things done. And let's go to the initial statement that I made. The supposed non-developed aspect of the southern part of Italy, it is strategy, because you had to fight off the Romans because yes, the people in today's Calabria, they were also considered barbarians because it was the Romans who Romanized everything. It was not just the Celts. It was not just the Goths. It was not just the Arabs and the Berbers who were the barbarians. It was also people in the south, what is today Sicily and what is today Calabria. So basically these people here, they had to fight, and they stood a good fight, and they're still doing it today, because today you have Washington's control, you have Brussels control, and you had the Roman Empire control, and then you had the Napoleon times control, and then you had other empires trying to conquer these lands, and Calabria always stood their ground, and that is why they don't want this total development in the Western sense. What happened to Turkey, all these hotels, people taking over their land. We can see it currently in Albania. There are billionaires trying to take over the land in Albania currently, the beautiful islands with the pink flamingos. But no, Calabria stands their ground, has their own ways, their own character, and manages to keep it the way it is, because that way it will stay with the families. The power will stay with the families. Maybe you can even compare it what is happening to Mexico, although that comparison may be a little bit extreme because you also have the narcotics, and I don't want to get into that. But anyways, the families stand their ground, and the families keep the power, and that is why Calabria, possibly on purpose, wants to stay quote-unquote undeveloped, because they can keep the control despite of Brussels and despite of Washington and all the other powers out there. So I'm having a great time here. I'm enjoying the land, good seafood, and yes, it's a great experience out here. Have a great one. Bye-bye.